hands had been placed on his chest, like a body in repose in a coffin. The image was spoiled by the spatters of mud on his trousers and coat, the blood soaking the upper part of his clothing and matting his grey hair, and the 3 bullet holes, 2 in the chest, 1 in the forehead. The call had come at 10 o'clock that morning. Shots had been heard outside Amersham's house in Regent's Park. Amersham's housekeeper had come out to investigate and found her master lying on the pavement in a pool of blood. Other servants had been sent with messages, one for the doctor, one to the police, one to Amersham's government office. The doctor and the local police had arrived first. By the time word had been received at Scotland Yard and Stark and Danvers dispatched to the scene, Churchill had arrived before them and taken command of the situation. Stark stood studying the body. "Where's Lady Amersham?" he asked. "In Scotland, staying with friends," replied Danvers. "A telegram has been sent to her." Stark nodded. 3 bullets, he mused. Why? The killer wanted to make sure he died. 2 in the chest would have done it. And why the face as well? Maybe the shot to the face was the first, which would have killed him, so why fire twice more? Why take the chance of hanging around after the first one to let off 2 more shots? A crime of passion? It's well known that his lordship was a bit of a... Well, he had an eye for the ladies, especially married ones, I believe. So, an angry husband? A spurned mistress? That'll depend on the calibre of the bullets, said Danvers. The size of those bullet holes suggests a heavy pistol to me, not a lady's weapon. Possibly a service revolver. Stark nodded. Very good, he said, impressed. So, a man then? At first sight, but we'll need to find the bullets. Stark studied the body. Either the killer wanted to make sure he was dead, or he was very angry. Furiously so. If that was the case, why just 3 shots? Why not empty the whole chamber into him? He shook his head and turned back to Danvers. Are uniforms canvassing the area? Yes, sir, nodded Danvers. I've got them door-knocking, talking to everyone who was in at the time. Also the surrounding streets, in case they saw someone running away. With luck, we might be able to get a description. And undoubtedly it will look like one of Churchill's Bolsheviks, grunted Stark sourly. A mad-eyed revolutionary in a ragged suit. You think the minister's wrong? Asked Danvers, curious. Stark sighed. No, he admitted. The killer could well be a Bolshevik sympathiser. Lord Amersham has been very vocal recently in his condemnation of all socialists. He called for the leaders of the British Communist Party to be hanged for treason, as I recall, sir, said Danvers. Stark nodded. I'm glad you keep up with politics, Sergeant, he said approvingly. Knowing which side you're on will be very useful to you in this case. Surely we're on the side of law and order, sir, said Danvers coolly. This time it was Stark's turn to look at his subordinate with a hint of suspicion. Is that a note of sarcasm, Sergeant? He asked. Danvers hesitated, then shook his head, a bland expression on his face. No, sir, he said. Just making an observation. Danvers was a good copper, thought Stark. He'd been Stark's sergeant now for 3 months. At first, Stark had been suspicious of him, especially after reading his application, which set out his background. Aged 21, public school education, father, Colonel Deverell Robert Danvers, CBE, from a long line of generals and colonels stretching back to the Civil War. Mother, Victoria Danvers, descended from landed gentry, by all accounts. The family home in the most expensive part of Hampstead. The family even had an entry in Who's Who, which certainly made them upper class, even if not completely members of the aristocracy. So, what had brought Robert Danvers, son of such an illustrious line, into a job as lowly as the police force? He'd asked Danvers directly and received his answer about wanting to serve the public and make society safe for all. It had sounded to Stark too much like a politician's line for his liking, but fair play to him. Danvers had stuck to his guns, stayed with it, and shown himself a good officer, sharp, clever, and loyal.